Hello, this is Greg from SharePoint Maven, and in today's video I would like to show you how you can create a nice looking and functional employee-facing marketing SharePoint site. Let me maybe first kind of set the expectation and explain to you what I'm talking about. So obviously in SharePoint you can create various types of sites. You can create employee-facing sites. You can create private sites for different departments and groups. And the idea of those sites is, of course, one-way information sharing. So here I happen to have a site for human resources department, right? The objective of the site is to share HR information with the rest of the employees. So the expectation here is that HR will manage the content here, update the content, and everyone else will be read-only. Well, we want the same type of site for marketing department. I'm sure most organizations have marketing departments, and marketing departments usually have lots and lots of content to share with the rest of the organization. Some brand guidelines and logos, approved images, news and announcements, and so on. So what I would like to do in this tutorial is carry you through all the steps when it comes to building a nice looking and functional marketing communication site. Now, the first step in the process is to, of course, create the site. And there are different ways to do it. I mean, if you have the ability to create your sites yourself, the appropriate place would be to do so from the SharePoint start page right here. But, in some organizations, this option is deactivated and only admins can create sites. So if that's the case, then your IT team would need to do it from the admin center, SharePoint admin center. But let's assume you do have this privilege. So I'm going to navigate to the SharePoint start page, click create a site, and obviously we have two main types of sites. Just to remind you, communication site is the type of site you use for one-way information sharing, and a team site, this is the type of site you would use for restricted access or two-way collaboration. In our case, we obviously want to go with the communication site template. Now, Microsoft gives you the ability to, choose a template that kind of already exists for use in case if you do not want to spend maybe too much time on the design. And they actually have, I guess, a template relevant to what we're trying to do, something called a brand center. Now, in some cases, this might work. All right. To be honest, I'm not a huge kind of fan, if you will, of this particular built-in templates because sometimes they might just have stuff that you don't need and might have categories that you don't need. But it's a great template to start with. If you have no idea, where to start, and at least it gives you, some possibilities, shows you some possibilities with SharePoint out of the box. Now, for the purpose of this video, I'm actually going to start with blank one, but feel free to check out the various, templates that they have, and maybe something will, catch your eye, and you can then implement it and customize it, tweak it to the way you want it to look like. But for now, because we're building something custom in our case, we're building one from scratch. So I'm going to actually choose the blank one. That's kind of the last option. So we're going to add all of our widgets, web parts manually. So I'm going to choose the blank one. And literally you are getting a blank, site with a blank page. We're going to use this template. This is where you give it a name, and I'm going to call it whatever the name of the department is. It looks like I already have created a marketing, site. You cannot have the same URL twice, so I'm going to just make it a little bit different, just like that, and click next, and then create a site. And what's actually happening right now, the site is being created. Obviously, in our case, it will just have a blank page, but we are going to customize it and tweak it accordingly. The next step in the process is to determine what it is that we are going to build on our marketing site. Now, throughout my experience of working with various companies, I decided to compile a list, which is what you see right now on the screen, of most, I guess, common types of content. What you have on the left is actually the actual marketing content that I usually see companies publish to their marketing sites. And on the right hand side are the corresponding web parts or functionality that we're going to use to meet this particular requirement. So we have news and announcements. That's obviously typical for marketing department. We need a place to store company logos and branding guidelines. Approved company images is another big one. Too often, marketing maybe wants to use, certain images when, for example, you build a PowerPoint slide deck or maybe even a SharePoint page. And instead of using some stock images, there are certain approved company images. So that's what we're going to cover here. Photos and videos, obviously very common among marketing, folks, right? Sometimes it could be just a gallery of some sort of, images or photos, approved images or training videos. So I'll explain to you how to set that up. Contact information, right? Sometimes I just want to know who to contact if I have a question within, marketing department. And finally, links to resources. This could be some maybe external websites or internal pages. And I'll show you how to add that functionality as well. So essentially what I'm going to do for the remainder of this tutorial in the following steps is, show you how to address each of those requirements and how to add a corresponding, web part or functionality to meet that particular requirement. We will start with the news web part, news and announcements. Um, Essentially, to add that particular functionality, we're going to rely on the news web part. This is one of my favorite web parts. This probably is a staple on any, SharePoint site, and most of the sites you create will probably already have one. But in case if you do not, because remember we started with a blank, page, just edit the page. And let's first do this. Maybe we'll split this particular section into, let's just say 3 columns. All right, we can rearrange it later. And if you hover over in the top center of a particular column, you're going to see the plus sign, and this is where you see the list of all available web parts you can add. The one we want is actually called news. So let's see where it is. Sometimes it's just easier maybe for you just to pretty much type it up. Yeah, let me do this probably so we don't have to search for it. I'm going to type in news, and here it is. And this is the news widget we're going to utilize now. Let me republish it. I added the web part. I actually recorded a number of tutorials already on how to utilize the news web part, how to create digests and send an email. Let me just quickly show you how that works but in this particular video. So you just hover over and add a news post or news link. News link is for situations when you have maybe an article somewhere on the web. As a matter of fact, let's maybe grab one of my blog posts, all right? And I'm going to, yeah, this is relevant for us, I guess, today. I'm going to grab this particular article. It could be obviously any article out there, internal or external. The best part about this newslink functionality is that essentially all you need to do is paste the URL. This is almost like sharing an article on Facebook or LinkedIn. It automatically captures the image from that article and even a title and description. You can obviously tweak all of this, but I'm just going to click the post button, and essentially the news post will now be published. And that's what news link is all about. News post is for situations when you want to create your own announcement. And I'm going to start with blank one. And let's just, I don't know, publish some news just like that. Now I'm going to add an image here. And you can upload your own image. Actually, this is one of the areas I will show you a little bit later because we are going to utilize specific functionality in here, but this will come in one of the following steps. But for now, I'm just going to rely on one of the built-in images. Let's just pick this one just like that. And of course, this is where your announcement will be. You can add text, images, whatever you want, all right, whatever you want. Videos, in our case, let's just keep it nice and simple. We are going to just publish it. Now, by default, even though it says post and send, I mean, it's posting it, it's already posted it. We're not going to send it, even though you can, all right? So if you want this article to be sent via email to your employees, this is where you get to type the email address, but we're going to skip it, all right? But let me show you what I just did. Just like that, you see, two news posts published on our site already, and they will always show up in reverse chronological order. Before I leave this particular widget, I want to mention a few more things. So one very important thing to remember is that all the pages you create, all the news posts you create are stored in the site pages library. So when I created our site, it only created that page. And for each and every announcement, it actually creates another page. So if you just create regular pages or any announcements, remember all of them will reside here. So if you want to maybe, I don't know, delete a particular announcement or modify it, you can get it in here. One more thing I briefly wanted to show you is that you can also tweak the look and feel of your news web part by clicking the edit button and clicking on the news widget again and those edit properties. And yeah, you can actually change the style of your news web part, how many articles will show up, what kind of information you want to display. So you can even organize it in a specific order. So there are quite a few. Again, this happens to be one of my favorite widgets, one of my favorite web parts. So feel free to check it out and check out its capabilities. But for news and poll, announcements, you're not going to find a better, widget, a better web part than the built-in out-of-the-box news web part. Now, the second thing I want to show you, and I guess this number two and three, they go hand in hand, because the assumption here is that these are just some sort of files, company logos and brand guidelines. All right. Usually, company logos are just a bunch of JPEGs, maybe PNG, files, right? Various logos, variations of logos that you have, and branding guidelines, could be maybe a few PDFs, right, with the appropriate color palette and font sizes and, guidelines on that information. So for this, we're going to utilize a document library. We're going to utilize the built-in document library. Let me show you how to do that. So when you create a brand new site, any site you create, doesn't really matter what type it is, it already has a document library. And we actually have a link still. This is a link, navigation link to that library. But just to show you, gear icon, site contents, and just like we have a special library for pages that I just showed you, we have a special library, obviously, for regular documents. And this is where you're going to store all those, logos and maybe brand guidelines that you have. So let me actually create a few folders in here. Maybe we'll just create a logos, folder, and maybe we will create, our brand guidelines, um, folder. just like that. And this is essentially where you will upload, you can upload your logos, your brand guidelines. This pretty much works like any other type of document. The only other thing I want to show you, so look, there are a couple of ways for people to navigate to this library. So first of all, you can always leave that documents link in here, and they will kind of see, have the access to this library. Another option would be to utilize the quick links web part. I'm actually going to come back to this web part a little bit later in this tutorial. But another option you have, we can also embed this library. We can also embed this library, and I'm going to do that. I'm going to edit the page, and the web part you want to use is actually called document library. And this is the one we want to embed, and just like that, all right? And let me actually clean it up because we just want people to see this few folders. We don't want to see them to see any of this header information. To do that, you click on this additional properties, edit properties, and we're going to hide all of this, see all buttons and the command bar. So it will be nice and clean. And let me show you how that works. I'm going to republish. Yeah, just like that. You see much, much better in my opinion. And yeah, users from here can pretty much navigate around the folder hierarchy that you have. Now, the next requirement is actually pretty interesting. I'll show you a very nice way to address it. So too often, companies have some approved, company images. They could actually be even, logos or just approved, stock images, right? Let's say you're building a presentation, PowerPoint presentation, or maybe even you're modifying the SharePoint page. And instead of those out of the box, I guess, stock images that you get, you want to have only approved, company versions of the images. For that, we can utilize the functionality called org assets library. And let me show you first of all how this works, and then I'll explain, briefly to you how to set it up. So let me first show you this org assets library in action. So I'm going to use this example, edit. And as you can see here, right, Microsoft offers us to use some stock images for our, background, I guess, or just, upload maybe an image. So we don't want any of this. We want only company approved images. Or maybe, you know what, let's do this use case. You know how we can now change the backgrounds, right? When I click add a background, of course, I can upload images, and then I'm sure all of you have seen this. You can utilize the stock images that exist that Microsoft gives you kind of for free. By the way, you get the same, the same prompts, right? If you're just trying to add an image to maybe your page. So if you're utilizing this image, web part, again, we're kind of getting the same prompt, right? We can either upload or use those stock images. Well, guess what? You can also incorporate some of your company's stock images, and you might probably don't have it in your organization, but I installed it in mine. You will see another tab in here called Your Organization. And look what I have here. It says images and files provided by your organization. So if I click on, and I have two categories, company logos, all right, or let me just come back here, company stock images. And these are the approved images provided by the company. So how did I build this, incorporate this? So this is where it gets a little bit tricky. Um, Only, essentially, you might need assistance from your IT department. Why? Because in order to, kind of add this particular tab, they need to execute a PowerShell command. Now, I'm not going to explain to you in this particular video on how to do it. I actually have written a pretty detailed article on this blog post on this, and I will make sure to include it in the description of this video. But let me tell you a high-level concept. So the way it works is the following. You have to pick a site, and usually this, of course, would be our marketing site. And then you have to create various libraries, one for approved images, those stock images, one for logos, whatever images you want to have available. Once you do that, that part is easy. That part can be done by you. But IT then needs to run a PowerShell command. Essentially, what happens is that with this PowerShell command, you register the specific libraries to be, set up as organizational asset libraries. They're the official libraries, and it's not a very, complicated command. And I have literally step-by-step instructions on how to set it up. But once this part is done, what will happen is that you will notice an extra tab now, and essentially this will display the contents of those libraries you registered as official libraries via PowerShell. And usually, obviously, those libraries will reside on the marketing site. It totally makes sense. So all you have to do is just literally create those libraries. All right, you would create all those additional libraries, upload the images there, and then let IT execute this particular command, and you will get this particular option. By the way, even though remember when we stored our logos and brand guidelines, you can pretty much utilize the same capability here, right? I mean, you can still rely on a document library, but a far more elegant option, in my opinion, would be to kind of utilize this. As you can see, these are the different, logos I have for my company, and what's cool about this particular option is that it doesn't really matter which site you're on. Right, I could be on HR site, I could be on I don't know, a finance site. Everyone will have those options, same options accessible, from any site. So that's what's really cool about this org assets, library. So I definitely encourage you to consider this option. And like I mentioned, you will need to work with IT department to execute the PowerShell command. The next requirement that I often see with marketing sites is the ability to store company photos maybe or some approved images. They could be even logos, but usually just regular photos. And we would achieve this through image gallery web part. If I'm not mistaken, I already recorded a number of videos about this particular web part, but let me briefly show you how to add that to your site. So we once again edit the page, and I'm going to click the plus sign. Now the image web part just allows you to add one image, but we have a gallery of images, so you click on image gallery and click add images. And look, this is yet another use case, right? Again, I have some stock images I can select, or we can create a bunch from our organization. Let's actually use this option just to kind of see what it will look like, just like that. So I selected a number of images, and this is what it looks like. All right. And by the way, you can change the layout. You can change and make it a slide and carousel, I guess. Whatever works. But this is the web part you would use. Now, one other thing that's actually super cool is that you can also upload your images. Let's say you have different albums, you can upload them into a particular library, and then they will dynamically be displayed from that library within the image, gallery. All right, but for now, let's just stick to this few images I chose, and click republish. And yeah, what you see is what you get. You can pretty much click on them right now and cycle through them, just like on any other gallery. The next requirement that I often see from my clients is the ability to display videos. And we can actually do it quite easily now thanks to the new stream web part that we got. So let me show you a few options with that. The stream web part is, of course, the web part that allows you to display videos on a SharePoint page. And what I especially like now, we also have this playlist capability. So let me show you how that works as well. So I uploaded some video files into this library, but you know what? I want to have a dedicated library for my videos. So let me take care of that. I'm going to create a brand new library, new document library, and I'm going to create a blank one. Let's call it videos. And this could be training videos. It could be, any type of video you might have. Now let's copy the documents, this several videos that I have. I want to move them to this new library. So just like that, I'm moving on the same side. So I'm moving them to our dedicated video library. So let's see where we have it. I think right here, videos, just like that. Now, of course, I can now, click on all these different videos, and we will see the video playing, like, with the player, and people can like and comments. But you know what? Let's make it pretty. Let's make it pretty. We want to display this information on our page. We want to display the video and play it right within our page. So let me show you how that's done. Click the edit button and plus sign again. And we are going, so obviously if your video is on YouTube, you can obviously just supply the YouTube link and embed it using this web part. But the one we want for now, because our video is already in SharePoint, the MP4s, so we're going to choose the stream web part. And let's see what we have for options. So obviously it's going for videos on the site. I want maybe to display a single video or, the one in a particular folder, right? But you know what? Let's just display one video for now. Single video. And let's navigate to our video. Which one do we want? I think this one is cute right here. Just like that. All right. And yeah, that's all you have to do. Republish. What I really like about this option, so you can play the video right from within the page, so you don't need to click anywhere. It doesn't open another tab. You can pretty much play, your video right from here. And obviously, Stream Web Part allows you to, you can, add another Stream Web Part and add another video, or if your video is already organized, you can pretty much display a particular, folder, maybe and point to a specific folder library and, show them all at once. One of the capabilities I would like to demonstrate, though, is the ability to create a playlist. Is the ability to create a playlist. Now, let me show you. I don't have any playlist yet. I have to define it. So let me show you how that works. All right, so let me republish that video. What you need to do first is create a playlist of videos. So let's say, I don't know, you have like 25 videos in here and you only maybe want to create a playlist, that will contain 5, 10 videos. Let me show you how to do that. So what you need to do is you need to create a new list. So we're going to rely on a list functionality, a list app. And let's see. Yeah, one of the templates here is called playlist. And yeah, essentially it gives you a bit of a preview of what it will look like. It's pretty much, think of it as a list with links to videos. And I'm going to use this template and yeah, let's just call it a marketing playlist. And I'm going to click create. It's obviously empty, but we can add our items. And the ones we want are those videos, remember? So I'm going, you know what, I'm going to select this 3. So I'm not selecting everything, just a few. And look what just happened. It created a playlist. Again, the scenario could be maybe some training videos, onboarding. Well, I guess this would be more appropriate for HR, but you get the idea. Essentially, you can create a playlist of the videos that you want people to see. So I just created this playlist, and it's a list, like I said, with links. And what's cool about it is that you can click on it, and as you can see, right, it cycles through all the different videos. But you know what? I want to display it on our page. So how do we do that? At this point, we go back to the page, click the edit button, and let's add the playlist functionality. So we're going to choose stream. And now we go and select, essentially playlist. Now, because we now have one, it's not grayed out. And yeah, just like that. And again, I can have different, styles, I guess, of how it will display. Let's republish. Let's see what will happen. Just like that. You see, it's a playlist. Once again, I can play it right within the page, but I can also now cycle through and see all my videos at once. If I'm not mistaken, let me just drag and drop it in here. Yeah, when you obviously, because I was pretty restricted, this is a 3-column layout. You actually have a little bit different layout in here. You can kind of see more videos at once. So that's pretty much the idea behind the playlist. So quite a useful function when you want to organize your videos and also display them in a specific maybe order to your employees. The next web part I want to show you, is people web part, and that's a great web part when you want to display contact information, right? So maybe I am a new employee and I really need to know who to reach out to for different things about marketing. For that, we're going to rely on people web part, pretty, easy, pretty straightforward part. Let me show you how that works. So once again, we're going to click the edit button. And you know what? I'm going to add what I usually like to do for people web part. I like to add another section, vertical section. So you see how we only have 3 here. I want another one. The way to do it would be to add a vertical section, just like that. And you know what? Let's maybe make it a little bit darker. Doesn't really matter. And I'm going to choose this people web part. That's what it's called. And yeah, I mean, essentially, it's pretty easy to use, very straightforward web part. And you just literally specify the names of your members, team members, and it will pull the information from Active Directory, your employee directory. So the cool thing about this is that first of all, it shows me right away who I need to contact and even the profile picture. And when you hover over, it actually shows you the information, pulls it from the user directory. Obviously the email address, phone numbers, location, and so on. Let me show you something else that I really like about this web part. So obviously not a lot of information here, just the name and maybe a title. But if you go for one of those other layouts, you see, you have a little bit more information. So for example, I mean, first of all, you could add a link profile, maybe LinkedIn or something, but you know what, for example, contact me for brand guidelines, all right? And maybe this one, Mary is in charge maybe of graphic design. Contact me if you need assistance with graphic design. All right, maybe if you need to create custom images and stuff like that. Actually, you know what? I ran out of characters here, so let's go for a little bit larger. The larger one gives me a little bit more real estate. But yeah, what you see is what you get. I mean, that's pretty much it. But now As you can see, it shows me still all the information with the profile card, but now it also shows me some additional information, and I guess I need to learn how to spell correctly, but hopefully you get the idea. You can utilize those, this particular web part to display your team members and provide some additional information on how, to contact them. The last web part we're going to add to our site would be the quick links web part. And too often, right, you just need to link and point users to different, files and different information. Could even be external information that you want people, to read and point to. So for that, we are going to utilize quick links web part. Let me show you how to do that. So once again, we're going to click the edit button. And you know what? I'm going to add another, let's add another section. It's going to be one column. And let's add the web part called quick links, another one of my favorite, probably one of the most popular web parts out there. And I want to add a link. I want to add a bunch of links. I want to add a link. Remember our logos and brand guidelines. Here we go. I want to create links to those two. And maybe I want to add a link to some other resources. All right. Maybe, you know what? Let's post my article. Again, just proving the point that it could be any URL as well, just like that. Perfect. Let's make it a little bit more pretty. So first of all, I'm going to put the logos first, brand guidelines, and then those instructions. Let me change. I also want a little bit nicer icons, but let me change this. And you can play with different layouts, but let's try this grid one. All right, just like that. You see how it automatically grabs the image from that link, so very convenient, all right? You can still replace it, but it's super convenient that it grabs it automatically. But for those two, I need some custom images. And for the logos, I want to change the image. And you can upload one, but you know what? Let's just maybe go for one of our stock images. Let's just say whatever we have in here. All right, let's just choose this. All right, just like that. And then for brand guidelines, again, we are going to upload a custom image. You can, once again, upload your own as well, or go, for the, for the library of stock images. Let's just, I don't know, try. Yeah, I think this looks good. Just like that. Perfect. So just with a few clicks, you can make it nice and pretty. And obviously with this option, right, it really stands out, to your users, and you can easily point them in the right direction in terms of all this different, brand information that you have within your organization. So for that, quick links web part is the one to use. By the way, lots and lots of configuration options. If just like with news, remember I have different layouts, and you just have different layouts, different ways to visualize the information. I think given that we are building a marketing site, it probably makes sense to leave it just like that. Just don't forget to republish every time you make the change. Now, we kind of added all the, major and main elements, and of course, I'll leave it up to you. You can, reorganize them, and as you add content, you can, obviously move stuff around and change stuff around so it looks a little bit better on the page. But for now, let me show you one other important thing that you need to do on your site, and that is you need to set proper security. For that, you need to navigate the gear icon, site permissions. And you're going to see three security groups: visitors, members, owners. You will probably see your name in the owners group. Why? Because, well, you created the site. I created the site in this case, so I am automatically become the owner of the site. We also have members and visitors. What's the difference? The visitors are read-only people. So the users in this group, they can only read and download, nothing else. The members are add, edit, delete people. So they can, edit the pages, they can add content, delete content, from the site. The only thing they cannot do is, set up permissions and delete the site. This is reserved for the owner. So me, being the owner of the site, I can, pretty much either, I can obviously set permissions, but I can also delete a site if I want to. So how do we set permissions then? So here's a use case. I have my colleague Mary, all right, and Mary is also part of marketing, and she will help me with all the content in here. So I want Mary to be the member. At the same time, I want everyone else within my organization to be a visitor, right? Because everyone, this is the site. This site is built for all the employees, so we want them to come in here and read, essentially, and download maybe, but not obviously edit anything. So we want them here in the visitors group. So let's make it happen. I'm going to click Share Site, and I'm going to type in Mary's name. You can obviously add multiple people if you want, but here's the important thing. By default, it assigns Mary read privileges. I'm going to make her edit. All right, let's see what just happened to Mary. Mary is in the members group. So Mary can actually do majority of things I showed you today. Mary can edit the pages. She can add announcements. She can edit, delete documents. Yeah, even the navigation. All right, members have lots and lots of power. Like I said earlier, members cannot delete a site and members cannot really tweak the permissions. Now, we want visitors as well, right? We want the rest of the organization. We're going to click Share Site. Now, you can obviously start typing the names of the users you want to add to your site, but let's say you have, I don't know, 50 people, hundreds of people, maybe even thousands. You don't want to type them in, right? So just type in everyone. Everyone except external users is a default group that exists. It's not a group your IT created. It's actually a group that Microsoft automatically has in your environment. And it automatically captures everyone within your organization. So, for example, if you hire me tomorrow and I'm going to be your new employee, as soon as your IT department creates a Microsoft, 365 account for me, I'm going to be part of that everyone group. So obviously, anyone with your internal, email address, right? Your regular email address. So it does not count the external people. So don't worry, external, users are not part of this group. So it's a really quick way for you to add everyone to your site quickly when you have, hundreds of people, maybe even thousands, right? So, and once again, we have to assign proper permission level, read, edit to full control, obviously read. Now, it's actually smart enough, even if you leave this box checked, don't worry, it's smart enough not to email hundreds of people, so no email will be sent. And let's see what just happened. We're done setting up security for our site. You really don't need to go anywhere else, all right? Too often I see users going to advanced permissions and trying to set up and permissions that way. There is absolutely no reason for you to do that. You can manage all of the permissions for your site from the main page, if you will. Again, gear icon, site permissions, and you have the 3 security groups, and that's all you need. So we just completed this very important step. We set up the proper permissions for our site so our users, our employees, our colleagues can access our beautiful site. Now, one last step I will show you. This is, of course, not mandatory, and it only makes sense if you built an intranet, a hub within your organization with different department sites. The last thing I want to show you is how to add a site to the hub. So look, I have this site, and as you can see, it's kind of disconnected from the intranet that we have. If you recall early in the video, I showed you the intranet with all the different department sites like HR and so on. We want our marketing site to be part of that hub. So you can actually complete this step yourself. well, at least one of the steps. Gear icon, site information, and you see hub association. All right, and it will list all the different intranets you have. Hubs you have within your organization. I have a few, but this is the one I want to be part of. And I want to be part of that hub. And no, I don't want to sync permissions, with the hub. I want my own. And yeah, let me click save. You will see what will happen. So it takes a few seconds for it to take effect. But my site is now part of that hub that I showed you earlier in the video. And yeah, let me just copy that URL so we don't lose it. Remember that intranet I showed you? We are now part of that intranet. So obviously we want our users to discover our site, so we really need to be part of that intranet. Now, when I connected this marketing site to the hub, a few things happened. So first of all, obviously the navigation got inherited. That navigation maintained on the main hub, we see it on our marketing site. So we got an extra navigation in addition to our site navigation. Also, the header got inherited. All right, so the blue header that's part of the company intranet, no matter which site I go to, it's the same. Why? Because it's inherited from the main site. So that's what happens when you connect a site to the hub. What does not happen, is the site does not magically appear in the navigation. As you can see, there is no marketing link in here. So how do we make it happen? This is actually a step that needs to be completed by the owner of the hub. So if you don't have owner privileges for your hub, you need to request, someone who does. So in my case, I am also happen to be the owner of this hub, and I want to add tweak the navigation. It's a manual step, believe it or not. Click edit, and I'm going to add a link in here, and I'm going to paste our URL, and I'm going to give it a label. All right, and click OK, and let me click OK at the bottom, save, and let's see what just happened. I added a link now. So now our employees can easily navigate between our, intranet home site and marketing or any other department with one click. So that's all I really wanted to show you in this particular video. Obviously, every organization is different and has unique requirements in terms of, the content, the types of content they want to share on their site. But hopefully you learned something new in this particular video, and hopefully you learned a few nice tricks. Definitely, as I just demonstrated, lots and lots of capabilities out of the box to display documents and images and videos and links. I especially like that org assets library I showed you. So definitely utilize that if you want to standardize on company branding and company stock images. But for now, wanted to thank you for watching this video. In the description, I will make sure to include an article. I actually have written a pretty step-by-step, detailed article on my blog talking about the marketing, site and how to set up org assets library. So definitely, check this out to learn additional information about the various tips and tricks. But for now, thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great rest of the day. Goodbye.